Amid the budget news, there is news out of Queensland. Despite promising there wouldn't be a new stadium, David Crisafulli has announced that there will be. And this has been welcomed by many Queenslanders. This is all about the Brisbane 2032 Olympics. Let's go live to Matt Carroll now. He is the CEO of the Australian Olympic Committee. Matt, thanks so much for your time. This was such
Pleasure.
a big political issue. Do you think that that politics remains here, and is it going to be an issue?
Look, I don't think so. I think it's good to see that the government has made their decision now. As the Premier said yesterday, time is ticking, and it's ticking. The games will start in 2032, regardless whether they're ready or not. So they've made these decisions. The decision, particularly about the stadium, remembering, of course, it's not just for the Olympic Games. We use it for a couple of weeks. Paralympic Games we'll use for a couple of weeks. Most of it is for sport in Queensland, which is basically AFL cricket and entertainment centres. So these venues are great legacies. Some will be built before the Games, and they're obviously great legacy for decades after.
Matt, why would you argue that Brisbane and Queensland more broadly need this stadium?
Well, it's something which cricket's been asking for, AFL's been asking for, and I think that there's the IOC and ourselves say don't build it just for the Games, and that's exactly the decision the Queensland government's made. They've built it for the legacy well and truly into the future, for Brisbane, for the state, so they can host major sporting events other than just the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2032.
And what are the complications with kind of spreading the Games outside of Brisbane, making sure the regions are part of this? Does that make it more expensive, logistically hard? I mean, we saw it in Paris. Some of the events were held as far away as Marseille. It's not a new thing for any Olympic host city, but Queensland's a big state, probably bigger than most of our international guests realise.
Well, yes, it certainly is large, although one could say surfing was held in Tahiti for the Paris Games, so you can't get much further away than that. The IOC are very understanding of that as yes, it does add logistical challenges. I agree with you. It certainly does. A third of the Australian team wasn't in the Paris village, so it does add logistical challenges for the National Olympic Committee's teams from all around the world. We can cope with it. We have did in Paris. The Los Angeles Games in 2028 is more actually the Californian Games. The canoe slalom will be in Oklahoma City, so that's not exactly close to Los Angeles. The Milan Cortina Games coming up next year. That's spread right across the Italian Alps. So the NOCs are used to dealing with it. So we can manage that one.
It's so wonderful, the Olympic Games, what it does to, I guess, the confidence of the city. Brisbane needs to kind of prove itself as a global city. Do you think they're up for it?
Oh, look, I do. And I think that's one of the reasons why Brisbane is hosting the Games, is to elevate the status of Brisbane into a global city. And it's one of the reasons the IOC are so thrilled that Brisbane put their hand up to host the Games, because they're looking at cities with this great ambition. I mean, you can go back to 2000. There's no doubt that the Sydney Games put Sydney as an iconic world city on the map. Even more, it was big then, got bigger. And people will come to not only just Brisbane, other parts of Queensland to holiday before the Games, after the Games, and obviously with the spread of the events out to Toowoomba for the equestrian.
No, I think it's wonderful. Brisbane need a new stadium. Let's get on with it, and the Olympic Games will be here before we know it, Matt. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much. Thank you.